Hello everybody, today we're going to talk about what an IP address is. And I know it's pretty basic, but I've only recently started looking into some networking knowledge, which I find pretty interesting, so might as well just start talking about it. So today we're going to be talking about IP addresses for people who don't know. So IP addresses are basically a way for devices that are connected to the internet to identify each other. So IP actually stands for Internet Protocol. So it's a protocol that is used to route from one computer to another, and IP addresses are used to identify themselves on this network of computers or devices. So an IP address, there are two types of IP addresses. One is called IP address version 4 and one is called version 6. And we're gradually seeing some people transition to version 6, and we'll see why. So an IP address basically, an IPv4 address basically looks like this. It might look like, say, 120.1. something point something, and these numbers are basically numbers from 0 to 255, and in your computer that is stored in binary. And notice how that's close to the number 256, so that would be stored in bits on your computer. And this type of addressing, firstly, this system, in the first two digits in this system basically identify the network. If you're switching from one internet service provider to a new one, then you might be assigned a different IP address, and so the first two digits would change because your network itself is going to change, and the last two numbers basically identify the node on the network that you are on. So basically, which specific your computer or which specific device you're using relative to that network, that wider network of computers. So if you're switching from one provider to another, then the first two digits at least would change, if not the second two. And so as I said before, these digits range from 0 to 256. And so this would allow for about more than 4 billion combinations of IP addresses, which sounds pretty great until you realize the population of our world is much above that. And in the 1990s, they were starting to think that we were going to run out of IP addresses. And when that happens, that can't happen because every device has to have a unique identification for the internet to function properly. So they invented a new protocol called IPv6, and IPv6 basically has a 4-digit hexadecimal number. So basically 0 to 9 and also A to the letter F. And so this is like one digit, and then there are 8 digits like these in total, similar to how this is structured, except most commonly, I think they use semicolons. So there's like 8 of these digits together. And then so this allows for much more combinations. So there's more than enough for everybody on Earth, and this also allows for multiple, many different devices to an individual. So yeah, much more flexible than IPv4, and we're gradually seeing some people transition to that. So yeah, so this is basically how an IP address is structured. For reference, I knew what an IP address looked like prior to learning about this, but I didn't know what the digits meant, etc. So yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. Goodbye.